You ever notice how sometimes conversations feel more like competitions than connections, where everyone's just waiting for their turn to talk instead of actually listening? We live in a world that's louder than ever, but connection is getting quieter. And if you want to stand out today, if you want people to remember you, it's not about talking more. It's about talking better. And that starts with 3 truths. Listen to understand, not to reply. Speak with honesty, not ego, and make people feel heard, not out-talked. That's the foundation. Now let's talk about the 10 ways to build on it, to have better, stronger, more meaningful conversations, whether it's with friends, coworkers, or even complete strangers. Most people don't listen. They reload. They're just waiting for a gap in the sentence so they can fire off their point. But listening isn't just hearing words, it's understanding intention. When you listen to understand, you're saying your perspective matters. You create safety, you create trust, and when people feel safe, they open up. You'll be surprised how much you can learn when your goal isn't to win the argument, but to understand the person. True communication isn't 2 people talking. It's 2 people listening. Curiosity is the heartbeat of every great conversation. When you ask questions, you tell someone, "I want to know you." It transforms the tone from defensive to open. Ask things like, "What made you feel that way? What was that experience like for you?" Curiosity disarms judgment. It replaces assumptions with empathy, because people don't need you to agree with them. They just need to feel you care enough to ask. You can't connect when your attention is divided. We live in a distracted world. Phones buzzing, notifications popping, minds racing. But presence, that's rare. That's powerful. Put your phone down. Look them in the eyes. Listen like what they're saying might be the most important thing you'll hear all day, because to them, it might be. When you're fully present, your silence becomes comforting instead of cold. And that's where real connection begins. Ego wants to be right. Honesty wants to be real. You don't need to dominate a conversation to make an impact. You just need to be authentic. Say what you mean, clearly, calmly, confidently. People can feel when your words come from ego. They sound heavy. But when they come from honesty, they sound true. The most powerful sentences are often the simplest ones. "I was wrong. I don't know. I understand." Those phrases don't make you weaker. They make you human. You don't have to impress people to connect with them. You just have to care. When you focus on being interesting, you perform. When you focus on being interested, you connect. The best conversations happen when both people leave feeling valued. So instead of thinking, "What can I say to sound smart?" ask, "What can I ask to make them feel seen?" Because the most magnetic people aren't the loudest. They're the most present. Your tone speaks before your words ever do. You can say the right thing in the wrong tone and lose the whole message. Calm doesn't mean weak. Steady doesn't mean soft. It means you're in control of your emotions. People respect calm voices because they sound like truth, not noise. When you control your tone, you guide the conversation instead of reacting to it. And confidence lives in that calm. When you're unsure of yourself, it shows in your words. Maybe we could, if that's okay. That tone gives away your confidence before you even begin. Try this instead. "I think we should. I prefer this approach. I'm not comfortable with that." A short, direct, certain. That doesn't make you rude. It makes you clear. Because clarity builds respect faster than volume ever will. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to say, "You know what? I never thought of it that way." That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Conversations don't have to be battles where someone wins and someone loses. They can be bridges where both sides learn something new. Stay curious. Stay open. You'll gain more from understanding someone's point than from proving yours. Vulnerability builds connection. But oversharing can overwhelm it. You don't need to dump everything you've ever felt on someone to be real. Authenticity isn't about volume, it's about value. Share enough to let people in. Not so much you push them away. Remember, mystery isn't a lack of honesty, it's a sign of boundaries. And boundaries protect your peace and your power. This is the one people forget. Every good conversation deserves closure, not just an ending. Thank you can turn an exchange into an experience. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thanks for your honesty. I appreciate your time. Gratitude turns moments into memories. And people always remember how you made them feel, not what you said. Better conversations aren't about fancy words, perfect grammar, or who talks more. They're about who listens better. They're about who makes the other person feel understood. So next time you talk to someone, remember these truths. Listen to understand, not to reply. Speak with honesty, not ego. Make people feel heard, not out-talked. Because when you do that, your conversations stop being ordinary, they become transformational. When someone leaves a conversation with you, they should walk away lighter, not heavier. They should feel respected, not analyzed. Seen, not silenced. That's how you change your relationships. That's how you change your influence. That's how you change the room, without ever raising your voice. And maybe that's the point. You don't need to be the loudest to be the leader. You just need to be the one who listens with intent and speaks with purpose. That's how you sound assertive. That's how you speak confidently. And that's how you make every conversation better. Because real power isn't found in the volume of your voice. It's found in the value of your words. But let's be real. Great conversations aren't just about what you say. They're about who you are while you're saying it. You can memorize all 10 ways, repeat them like a checklist. But if your heart isn't in it, people will feel it. Because words don't connect people. Energy does. You ever talk to someone who barely says much, but you instantly feel calm around them? That's presence. That's authenticity. And you can't fake it. It's not about perfect sentences. It's about honest presence. You can stumble, pause, or even forget what to say. But if you're real, you'll still connect. We live in a world where most people want attention, not connection, where people speak to be heard, not to understand. But you can be different. Be the person who listens without interrupting, who asks not to reply but to understand, who makes others feel lighter, not smaller. Because one genuine conversation can shift someone's entire day, maybe even their entire direction. And don't underestimate how powerful listening is. Sometimes, someone just needs to be heard once to start healing. You don't have to fix their pain. You just have to hear it. The truth is, everyone's carrying something. And most of us are just hoping to meet someone who listens, not with their ears, but with their heart. So when you show up calm, open, and curious, you become that person. And when you become that person, people start trusting you. Not because you always have the right answers, but because you make them feel safe to speak their truth. That's emotional maturity. That's communication mastery. And that's leadership, not from position, but from presence. Now, before you walk away from this, I want you to remember something. The quality of your conversations will always reflect the quality of your awareness. If you enter a conversation to prove, you'll push people away. If you enter it to understand, you'll pull people closer. And this matters, not just for your relationships, but for your peace. Because when you learn how to speak clearly, listen fully, and respect boundaries, you stop carrying unnecessary tension from every argument or misunderstanding. You stop replaying moments in your head thinking, maybe I should have said this. Maybe I was too quiet. Maybe they don't like me anymore. No. You learn to say what's true, and then you let it go. Because mature communication doesn't need to control the outcome, it just needs to express the truth. That's the calm confidence people feel drawn to. Not loud, not flashy, just real. So take these 10 ways not as rules, but as reminders. Reminders that communication isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. Reminders that connection doesn't come from power, it comes from empathy. And reminders that conversations aren't just words, they're windows into who you are. Because at the end of the day, people might forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And if every time you speak, someone walks away feeling respected, understood, and safe, then congratulations, you just mastered communication. So the next time you open your mouth, don't just aim to be heard, aim to be understood. Because words fade. But the way you make people feel, that's what lasts.